Welcome back to my channel, which is all about roller skating. Here we go with some tips for when you first start roller skating from one beginner to another. Screw in your toe stops. So if you have skates like these where you can adjust the toe stop, then I would recommend that you screw it in a bit further. I've been skating for quite a few weeks already, and now and again I was practicing walking, like balancing on my toe stops, but it was really hard in both my skates. I had to be super careful not to slip back. Eventually I saw a YouTube video where the YouTuber said screw them further in because you will be much more sure-footed on your toe stops when they're further in. I haven't done anything to the trucks on these skates or my other skates. What I think is the case is that when you're a beginner, it's easier to skate on tighter trucks. It's one less wobbly factor. And I think as you progress, then you slowly, gradually loosen the trucks more and more so that it gives you more ability to move. I saw a thread in a forum online, and a lot of people have very strong opinions about truck looseness. It seems a bit like one of those rabbit holes you can go down and get lost in. So the softer the wheels, the slower you go, and that gives you some extra security, of course. And also you're less likely to slip. Like the harder the wheels, the more you might slip on them. These aren't the softest wheels. These are 92A, the Moxie Fun Day wheels, these ones. But I got them specifically for the skate park. These are the ones that I got for street skating, 78A Radar Energy. It's so fun to just skate to music. It's the best thing. But one thing, if you're not that advanced and you can't do everything you want to do, it's definitely a better idea to have slow music playing, because otherwise you want to keep on track with the beat with your movements, and then you will easily just kind of end up in a heap on the floor. It's better to listen to music that relaxes you, that helps you chill out and, you know, breathe. So make yourself a playlist that you love with slow music to skate to. Protective gear is really important. My protective gear is super cheap from Decathlon. I've got my helmet and knee pads, elbow pads, wrist guards. Your knees are your shock absorbers and you need to protect them as best you can. Your helmet, super important. You never know when you could slip back. Also indoors. I mean, I feel like a massive dork wearing a helmet in my own living room sometimes if the weather's bad outside, if it's raining, and I use the living room as a mini skating rink. Especially inside, you know, if you slip back and hit your head on a piece of furniture, it can easily end really badly. Okay, here's just me showing you that helmets are cool. Wear durable pants or a durable skirt even. It's good if whatever you're wearing doesn't tear with one or two folds. Also, if you're at the skate park and eventually want to enter a bowl, you might slide in on your butt first. And you don't want something that rips easily. You're scared when you first start roller skating. You're scared of falling, you're scared of hurting yourself, you're really unsure on your feet, and I'm still that way. So it's only been the last 2 or 3 sessions and I've skated for almost 2 months that I felt not like Bambi on ice for the first 15 minutes that I had skates on. That fear of falling, what it did with me is it made me do everything in slow motion. I skated forwards very slowly. I tried moves basically standing still, and I would often trip on little things like twigs or pebbles and, you know, catch myself, but still kind of that made me even more anxious. And one thing that, to my surprise, I learned was that if you go a little faster, for example over cracks or even over little twigs and that kind of thing, then you're way less likely to fall. Another point, bend your knees. Bend, bend, bend. I kept thinking for the weeks that I skated that my knees were bent enough, and then I met a fellow roller skater who's been skating for 7 years, I think, and immediately she said, your knees aren't bent enough. And I'm like, oh really? Okay, fine. So I bent my knees more, and she's like, no, still not bent enough. you've just unbent them again. Even if you think you're there, often you're not, and you should bend your knees way more. Another really important thing is to connect your core, tightening your middle section. It gives you more stability and then of course more control. I forget this literally every 3 minutes as I'm skating forwards, but then I remember it again and think, okay, I'm going to tighten these muscles again because I've just remembered. And this goes on like 100 times in one skate session, going, oh shit, core, right, yes, core. Forgot about the core again. And the knees bent. And keep your upper body basically upright. You don't need to lean it forward all the way. Just keep it upright and lower your hips. Try to keep in mind that roller skating is not about your feet, even though you might think it is because, you know, you've got the skates on your feet, the skates are moving you along. It's about your center. The center of your body is not at your feet. It's somewhere around here. This is where you keep the balance, and depending on where that center is, that will determine whether you fall or whether you stay upright and graceful like a swan gliding along. When you're gliding forward, you shift your center to the right and then to the left, to the right, to the left. When you're turning, you shift your center away from the direction you're turning, and then you follow through with your other foot. Try to think more with your core rather than with your feet, if that makes any sense. Another good idea is to take videos of yourself, and this is not just an exercise in vanity. The advantage is that you can see exactly what you're doing and potentially what you're doing wrong, and seeing, oh wait a minute, I'm moving the wrong foot first. You may feel like your knees are super bent, but in actual fact they are barely bent. Things feel way more extreme than they look on the outside. Like you're going up a ramp and it feels like you're just riding this tidal wave when in fact you've gone up a tiny little amount. It can be quite anticlimactic watching some videos, but it's super helpful. I dedicated so far one session just to falling, striding forward and then falling on one knee, getting up, falling on the other knee, and it was really liberating because falling is the one thing you naturally want to avoid, but it can't be avoided if you're learning to roller skate. It's actually a sign that you're progressing. It's a sign that you're trying and that you're willing to be brave, and it's a good thing. You just have to know how to fall and how to fall safely, and that's what you can practice. Go out and say, okay, today is all about falling. I'm just gonna fall all over the place. It's gonna be great. When you're roller skating a lot, you constantly have the skater stance, and that actually over time can really shorten your hamstrings, and that in turn can mess up your knees. You want to counteract by stretching out your hamstrings and doing stretching exercises. You could do a yoga routine that has a lot of hamstring stretches integrated into it. Or you could just, you know, find some stretches that you like and make sure you do them before you go roller skating. One tip that I have is to find fellow roller skaters eventually. So skating is a lot of fun on your own, but I think essentially it's a social sport. I started off on my own, and my boyfriend and baby joined me on a lot of occasions, which was lovely. So I wasn't completely alone, but I was skating alone. A friend of mine actually sent me a post by someone in a Facebook group. This is how I made my first roller skater contact. And thanks to her, I was added to some WhatsApp groups, and now I've found several groups that I can skate with. And another big thing is that they're very supportive of beginners, especially people who come from roller derby. They have this big culture of cultivating beginners, of really taking beginners under their wing. So it's not the type of sport where as a beginner you're just brushed aside until you get good. This is of course just a suggestion, but I think it does enrich your roller skating experience. So I'm not the only one with a skate diary on Instagram or YouTube. There's plenty of people that have skate diaries, and it's great to watch them. It's great to get some inspiration, some pointers about what you might want to learn next. But it's not a good idea to compare yourself and to get frustrated if you can't do something as quickly as they can. Very easily, without even noticing, you can start putting pressure on yourself and gradually building that pressure. You want to keep in mind that you're skating for the sake of skating, for the sake of having fun, learning something new. It's a form of self-care, right? You could say that. So keep in mind that you are totally fine going at your own pace. Also, enjoy being a beginner. Don't wish yourself like 6 months ahead. It's good to be a beginner, and it's fun to be a beginner because you have some exciting new territory to explore. Take joy in the process of getting better. I hope that these tips resonate with you, that you can gain something from them. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you next time.